Rough Edge FM. Irritatingly irresistible internet radio at roughedgefm.com.
There's so much going on in your community that even in this age of information, it's tough to keep up. This show will help. It's all about what's new, what's happening, and what's out there. So if you're ready, sit back and listen up, Santa Paula.
It's irritating. How does he say it in the beginning? I just said it says it's irritating, rough edge, but that's not what he says.
No,
it's irresistible.
Something like that.
I don't know. I gotta here. Let's see.
Rough Edge FM. Irritatingly irresistible.
Oh, it is irritatingly.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, it was irritatingly loud when the intro came on. So.
Oh, okay. I don't pay much attention to the intro.
I know you don't listen to it at all.
We hear it every week.
I know.
So, yeah.
It probably has like totally two different names, and we don't even.
Yeah.
It's Bill and Ted or something. But anyway, hey John, you look pretty good after this crazy ride that we've been on.
Oh yeah, I'm good. It was a great weekend for our community.
Yeah,
huge weekend for our community.
And what do you think the overall turnout was?
The overall turnout was about what we expected. We had thought we'd get between 4,000 and 5,000 people throughout the day, and I think we pretty much hit that. We had about 2,000 people down at the concert in the evening, and we probably had about the same, maybe a little bit more up top. So I think we were right where our numbers, what we expected.
Yeah. Awesome. It's funny because I was talking with one of the local businesses that is in the downtown area, and we always struggle with trying to get the word out. And you think you're doing as much as you possibly can. There's posters, there's banners, there's things that in the downtown, there's flyers, there's advertising in the paper. They actually had the event on the billboard at the car place down on the 101 freeway.
Yeah.
And so they were, pushing this everywhere.
Yeah.
So I was talking with one of the local businesses, and I said, "How was your business on Saturday?" And they said it was a little better than average, but she said, "I would venture to guess there were probably about 70% of the customers that came in had no idea the event was going on."
Yeah, it's crazy. It is.
So that means 30% came in because of the event.
Yeah.
The other 70% were just like clueless that anything was even happening.
And our own residents.
Yeah.
And I don't know how they could miss it. It was everywhere. Santa Paula Times, social media, posters, a downtown banner that's been up for a few weeks. I mean, unless they just don't go to the areas and look at it and they don't get involved in, maybe they don't have social media or whatever, but it was hard not to miss it.
Well, they were obviously regular customers.
Yeah.
Of the shop, so it's not like they haven't been downtown.
Yeah. People just for whatever reason they do what they do and don't pay attention. And then we found that out. Even some people on social media said, "Well, I didn't know about this event," and people were like, "Same thing. How did you not know?" But if you're on social media, there's no way you could not see it,
right?
Especially if you're on that page where they said nothing. It's been on that page forever.
Yet they're seeing the results of it going, "Hey, I didn't know this was going on." And it's like, well,
and
you can see the results, but you didn't see everything that led up to it.
And that's too bad. I mean, we did everything possible to advertise between the county, locally, social media. We have an app. We did everything we could to promote it, but we're always going to have a percentage that never see it.
Right.
And that's unfortunate because we always tell people that, or suggest people that get out, get involved in the community, volunteer, do whatever you need to do, and you'll start to see what's happening in our own communities. But I get it. They have their own thing. Maybe they're working all the time and they just go home and then they go to their certain stores, they get it and they go and they don't pay attention. And that's fine. That's their prerogative to do that.
So one of the things that I do a lot of research on because of the digital marketing is the effect of different things that happen in a community and what effect it actually has on the overall community as a whole. Um, one of the things I came across was NFL stadiums. So NFL stadiums boast about the fact that by having a stadium in your community, it boosts business and traffic and everything else. And the statistics actually show that it has an opposite effect.
Yeah.
When people are going to the NFL game, hotels do awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But when people are going to the NFL game, they want to go to the tailgate.
Mm-hmm.
And so they don't venture out to the restaurants or the bars that are nearby. In fact, those businesses end up suffering during game days because regular traffic can't get to them.
Streets are closed.
It's too crazy.
Whatever. Yeah, exactly.
And so they end up suffering, and it's the stadium that's getting all the business and all the all the food and the merchandise and everything else. So I think when you look at events like this, a lot of people don't really venture beyond the walls of the event. So when the downtown, I know some people get upset when you close the downtown to do things, but when you close the downtown, you're putting those people in that spot.
Exactly.
Even though they were 1 block away, I'd be willing to bet there were a lot of people who never ventured outside of the museum.
Yeah.
They stayed in that territory.
Exactly.
When they went to the concert, they stayed in that fenced in area. And so there weren't a lot of people necessarily that were going 1 block over.
Yeah, and we kind of trying to set it up where parking was on the opposite side, so they had to walk through downtown, which it did help, but I know some businesses did really well, and other businesses said it was okay. Not sure why that happened, if they had the same kind of traffic flow, but a lot of times I always ask businesses, well, if people are here, do what you can to promote, put stuff outside, do what you can, sales, whatever, something to attract people in. And whether they do it or not, I don't know. But the ones that did that did really well. So, it's also the business owner to get engaged as well.
Right.
We can bring all the people, but if they don't have anything attractive to get them in their business, that's kind of on them for doing that. And we try and always encourage them to do something. And we always ask if they need some help with that, and we'll give them suggestions and stuff too. But it's up to each individual business whether they want to what they need to do to promote their own business.
I think one thing that really helped was the fact that the Oddfellows did the historical tour.
That was a historical society.
Oh, the historic. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The clock tower where the Oddfellows was one of the stops.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, gotcha. So the historical society. So the fact that they did that and they had cards that they were passing out and saying, here, go on this walking tour, that took the people out of that fenced in area or that zone.
Yeah.
And made them walk downtown.
Yeah.
And so stuff like that, I think, is really beneficial. The app had that same walking tour in there. So anyone who used the app to do the walking tour was able to, go downtown and.
Yeah. So maybe that's the next step, is create more things where they can do that stuff like that.
Yeah.
Go see certain, we've talked about adding the mural tour to it as well. So that's something we'll work on as we go through it. Cause there's 4 or 5 murals downtown, plus the art alley that's got a bunch of murals as well. So, but the historical murals, there's like 3 or 4 that are right there in the downtown footprint. And so actually 4 in the downtown, 5 in the downtown footprint, 5 of the 9. So, so it's just kind of coming up with some creative ways to get people downtown. I know when we close streets, we'll bring thousands of people downtown, but that doesn't always work for some businesses.
Right.
So it's just trying to figure out that fine line there to help people, it's whatever you do, it doesn't work for everybody, but you just try and do the best
impossible.
you can to satisfy as a whole, and the hope when you go shopping, like when we go downtown or something, and say in Ventura or something, you go to a restaurant and then you're walking around like, oh, that's a nice shop. Let's go check it out because of how they set up their business or display or whatever. That's how we do it, but some people just go to restaurants and leave and they don't see it. So a lot of it has to do with how you present your own business within it too. So we,
On Monday, I believe it was. I intentionally tend to park away from where I'm going. So like if I'm in a parking lot, I will park towards the back because I want the walk.
Yeah.
You know, just to kind of get out and stretch because I sit on my butt so much during the day. And so we frequently go to where?
Oh, the draft.
Yes, for lunch. So and so Monday I took Julie down and we went to the draft. But I parked up a couple of blocks west of that. And so we were walking the sidewalk to go to the draft, and there's this it's not an antique. I think it's like an estate sale place where they have some furniture and stuff from different estates
in the window.
In the window.
Yeah.
And we saw for like $32, there was this glass display. So I have a very rare collectible book from Siegfried and Roy. When he had gotten injured and they shut the show down. It has a lot of the memorabilia from the show. It's got a colored, but I mean, they give you white gloves to handle the book. And I always wanted to have it on display, but I don't want people touching it. And so it's one of those glass display cases that you can put something inside of. They call them a shadow box or something like that, I guess, but it's a table for $32. And then we were looking inside the window, and it's like, boy, you know, we're in the process of redressing one of our escape rooms, and they had some stuff in there that it's like, oh, that would work really nice in the escape room. And it was very reasonably priced stuff. It wasn't like outrageous. We would have never seen that had we not walked to our destination. If we had parked in front of the draft, we would have gone in and we would have gone out. So it's amazing how these little gold mines or little gems that you find when you just take the time to kind of not look down at the sidewalk and pick your head up. And you know.
And we have a lot of great businesses downtown that have some really cool displays, but you got to spend the time and do it. And I know I'm guilty of just, I got to go here, go there and walk away and be done, you know. And sometimes you do need to stop and take a look and see what's out there. Because, you know, with what we do with the downtown district, as an example, you know, it's always good to have another set of eyes. You see something, and one, it helps promote them. And two, you may see something that might need to be repaired or something out on the outside or something. So you got to take a look, sit and look. And my role, I'll sit and I'll actually start walking and looking at everything. And I got to get better at doing that a little more in detail. And encourage businesses, hey, you know, this might look better if you do this or that, and give them suggestions, you know. You know, and we're trying to do that as a whole with our downtown. You know, we have a lot of businesses that are now working together. They're going to be doing sidewalk sales. They're going to be doing, you know, a sip and shop coming up for the holidays. So they're all kind of working together right now. And you've seen in the business roundtables. So they're all getting together and they're all helping each other. They go to each other's businesses, they talk. And so we're encouraging them as they walk downtown to let us know what they see, you know, and that'll help.
Speaking of which, I believe it's November 2nd. From 9 to 10:30, they are having a marketing workshop, not a workshop, but a roundtable, basically, to talk with businesses about how we can promote the Santa Paula businesses, not just the downtown, but how we can promote businesses as a whole to shop local and to shop small. And so if you are a business, it might be a good idea to participate in that so you can get your input. And
I had asked to put this together because every year since I've been with the chamber, you know, we always have the Shop Santa Paula campaign, and there's, you know, 30 or 40 different variations of it between all the businesses, and they all have good components of it. And it's like, well, why don't we just pull everything together this year? You know, we will create some funding for this. You know, the chamber can sponsor some of these things with maybe posters or whatever, but let's collectively talk about how we can market as a whole. So if you're going to, people come here, they see the same poster and says Shop Santa Paula, support local, whatever we do, and they go to another business. And it's kind of like how American Express does Small Business Saturday.
Right.
But we can tailor it to a Shop Santa Paula campaign. And that way, no matter where you go in the community, it's like, it's there. It's telling you what to do. We put it on the app, we put it on the website. But, you know, we just need to start marketing ourselves as a whole, because everybody does their own thing and they're all great. But maybe with pulling together, we can share resources, and it would be less expensive for some of these businesses as well. Show them some networking, social media tips and stuff. And I'm hoping that you would actually speak to, I haven't actually asked you yet officially, but maybe talk briefly about social media marketing, just to give them, 5-10 minutes is like, here's what you can do, but we would tailor it. Maybe we'll come up with what it looks like and show them, hey, here's what we can do. We can tailor it to your business. We can do, but we got to keep the same theme. And that was kind of what my thing was, is just like, we need to pull this together and figure it out, because every business always wants some added support, but it's like, it's hard because they have this one idea and this business has this idea, but when you look at them, they're very similar. And so let's just kind of figure out how to make it one campaign for the community. Not many cities do that, where there's just like this one whole overarching theme, but we have that Shop Santa Paula campaign, and we always have done that, but not as well as we could.
Yeah, it's never been collectively.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that was kind of my thought process of putting this together. And we're going to try it. It doesn't mean we're going to, it's a preliminary thing. We're hoping that we get enough people to show up and throw some ideas out there, and maybe we can come up with something leading into Small Business Saturday and going that campaign for the whole holiday season. And then beyond that too, maybe we can figure out a different strategy going after, because, traditionally January, February, and part of March is usually the slowest times of the year for businesses. So if we can figure out a way how to do some things to help promote, and we've come up with a couple ideas this morning too that we talked about. So
nice.
But yeah, I know your invitation was in the mail about maybe presenting. I don't think you got it, but I'm hoping that you would commit to. I'm kidding. I'm hoping you would commit to giving 5 or 10 minute presentation on, and we'll talk after.
Sure.
On how we can market this.
I have it on my calendar to be there, so I am going to be there.
Yeah.
So,
but I think we don't have all the answers, but we want to get feedback if we can get feedback from businesses, say, hey, I need help in this, and this, and it's constructive. Maybe we can come up with something collectively that, okay, this might work as a whole.
Yeah. And I think, when you're doing stuff like that, it's important to understand how Facebook is handling those posts.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't think a lot of people understand that, and they just assume that they put it out there and the whole world's going to see it.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people will do social media posts, but understanding like this quick tutorial is like, hey, if you're going to do this, here's what we need to do. And maybe through the chamber and through other organizations, the Tourism Bureau, maybe we need to figure out when that gets posted, how we share it and we grow from that point.
Right.
So if it's not just the one individual business, but maybe we have several businesses and the overarching chamber or tourism or the city share it, and it gets that farther out,
Right.
Because I see a lot, every so often I'll see on my social media thing, when I look at it, somebody will post something. I'm like, I never saw that. It was like 4 or 5 days ago.
Right.
And it was something that they were having two nights later. And I'm like, well, I would have gone to that if I would have known, but I never saw it, and it was a business, had like this little function or something. And it's like, it's too bad. I was like, man, I would have stopped by if I would have known it. But for some reason, it wasn't in my feed. And so how do we get that where it gets exposed, and how do we,
and does the chamber follow all the chamber member businesses?
We follow as many as we can, that post.
Okay.
It's hard because it's really me doing it. And so my capacity sometimes doesn't always,
right.
It's not, I'm not able to sit there on social media and look at everything. I do have another board
but do you actually follow the business though?
The ones
when you go in and you click on follow.
Yeah, the ones I follow.
Okay.
That I see, but I don't see everybody.
Right.
And that's why I'm like, I have another board member, Tracy, that actually helps me with this now. She just recently started doing that. So we're able to capture a little bit more.
Nice.
And we're able to post events more now. So we're working together and just have another set of eyes to try and expand it. We're hoping to bring in somebody else too to look at it and just see how we can expand. Because I think it's really important this year that we support our businesses, especially for the holidays, to get them, as much as business as possible. Because you're going to see, the big box stores are going to be hammering everybody in the online to buy this cheap or whatever, but we really need to focus and support our small businesses.
Well, and I
That's
think it's important that we focus to the businesses that aren't just downtown too, because I think
Mhm.
a lot of businesses may feel like, oh, the whole focus is always downtown, and we're always getting ignored, and
Yeah.
there's so much more to Santa Paula than just that one.
Yeah, this is
footprint.
not a downtown specific. This
Right.
is a community wide, because we are going to look at expanding way beyond downtown, because we have our Harvard district that's under construction right now. But
Right.
once that's done next year, we need to figure out a way how to help promote that. That
Yeah,
area
that's
too.
because that's going to be a really nice footprint.
That's our biggest business district, and we need to really help focus on that. So, you have a downtown district, you have our Harvard business district, there's other sectors that we can work on. So, but we need to start somewhere. If we can start now, and then we can carry this over. So my thought was, let's do it as a larger community-wide thing.
But keep in mind, November 2nd is for all businesses, not just the downtown businesses.
Exactly.
So it's to incorporate everybody. So if you are a business, come down.
Yeah, and there's no real agenda other than here's our thought process. Here's what we have. We'd love your feedback, and what other ideas do you have? Take all that information, and then maybe you can present. I'll present what we do through the chamber. Maybe the city can talk a little bit about how they would like to see, and what we can do, and then collectively come back a week later or something and put a plan to get in place, and then implement that right before the Small Business Saturday. We do have tools, through my Chamber Professionals Network. We have what's called Small Business Season. We did that last year. We're going to do it again this year. There's plenty of marketing material, and we can customize it. So we can customize that for us, and we can put our Shop Santa Paula campaign. And so there's a lot of tools that we can use, and then we'll figure out how we print posters, we do whatever we need to do, or maybe customize it to individual businesses. It's like, hey, Shop Santa Paula, here's the House of Magic Foundation, here's what they have, come support them. That's easy, and then whether we have a marketing person do it for us and say, here's the list of businesses, here's what we need to do, go from there, or we do it ourselves. We don't really know until we sit and talk to the business. I mean, what better way to get some feedback is the actual businesses that are doing it, that are on the front line there. Find out what their needs are, and then try and craft a general message for everybody.
And I think it's important that they feel like there's a partnership there, that we're truly all working together. We're not competing against each other. It's if you do well, we're going to do well. Mm-hmm. And if we get people in, then it's going to benefit you. If you get people in, it's going to benefit us. Mm-hmm. And that there's a real collaboration there.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to go and even like the restaurants, they go eat, and it's like, oh, wait a minute, I know that this business, and this business have a sale going on this day, let's go. Or there's however we do it, and they're going to go in that little area right there where all the businesses are. Restaurants are always a key to drawing people, but it's also understanding what's around you too. And that's what we got to get better at.
We get a tremendous number of people that come in for the escape room, and after they're done, they're like, okay, so what's there to eat? And we send them to the typical ones, like either the Mexican restaurants or Rabelais or the Draft or Pizza Man Dan's or whatever.
Do you give them your recommendation for the Draft, what they eat?
So we actually have a sheet that we hand to them that has a handful of restaurants in there for them. But
well, now they can download the app while they're here.
They can.
Yeah, download the app, and here's all the stuff. You can go and see what's here, and there you go.
Here's your restaurants.
But yeah, and I know a lot of businesses do that, or I should say a lot, like the theaters, the theater center. People go to eat, they go downtown, whatever. The train, the rail cars.
Yep.
They're directing people downtown to go eat. And we get a lot of out of town visitors that will come down, and then all of a sudden they see the Glen Tavern and like, oh, we should stay there. Or they go to Rabelais and like, oh, there's a sports bar. We'll go to the sports bar or whatever. And then they go to the Agriculture Museum or the Aviation Museum or the regular art museum, and they're always directing people to go to other areas. And I think collectively having this app helps, because now it's just one download. They don't have to necessarily give them all these, 50 pages of stuff, but it's there if they want it too.
Right.
So it's just a different way of thinking. And we've talked about coming out of COVID, how we market. And, we actually had a business meeting yesterday with the EDC, and they talked about how you got to think differently, how you're marketing and stuff now, because a lot more people are doing social media stuff, and thing is, they don't always know how. We've talked about that. So it's just giving them as many tools as we can.
I've been helping somebody put a resume together and stuff like that to get a job.
Mm-hmm.
And post-COVID has so dramatically changed the way you get a job today than what it was just even 4 years ago.
Yeah.
AI reviews all your resumes now.
Yeah.
And so they're looking for keywords, so you're not even getting a look at by anybody. So their AI is determining who's going to see the resume.
Yeah.
And then it's, amongst, if it's remote, because there's a lot of remote jobs out there now. If it's remote, you're in the midst of, 5,000, 10,000 applications that have gone through for that same job. And it's really difficult now to be able to walk into a business and say, hey, I'm looking, unless it's a small business. But if you're looking for something, big, good luck.
Yeah.
Because it's a totally different world.
Yeah. Yeah. With remote learning or with remote working conditions, you're at a real big disadvantage sometimes.
Oh, it's ridiculous. Yeah. And you're at a disadvantage because your resume, you might be the perfect candidate and the best one for that job, but AI determined you weren't.
Yeah.
And,
and it's just based on what you entered into whatever, and you could have entered it wrong and you got bumped.
So there's a trick.
Yeah.
And when Google started with the whole search engine thing, people used to put white text on their web pages and so, like, let's say for example, the software company that I used to work for was Logos, and our competitors were Peachtree and Blackbaud and ParishSoft and whatever, ACS. Well, you would put in white all those names so that if somebody was looking for ParishSoft, you would come up in the search engine because it found it on your website. And so now Google looks for that and says, if we can't read the text, we're not indexing it.
Yeah.
Well, apparently AI isn't smart enough yet. So one of the things you can do on resumes is you can put in white text so that no human sees it, all the keywords that AI is looking for in order to determine, yes, it's because of my wife. But I was just telling John that we were working on with somebody to get a resume done.
It online is going to get that rectified real fast. So maybe
because we're talking to Santa Paula, not in Santa Paula. Who uses AI in Santa Paula?
I started using it.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh.
In fact, not for the chamber, for something else last night, I wrote something using AI, and it was amazing what it did for me.
Oh, really?
I was just like, oh my God, this is awesome.
So I because I don't want to lose my ability to write, what I use AI for is to proofread.
Yeah.
Because it's amazing because you're always finding mistakes and stuff that you wrote, and then somebody else proofread it and they miss it, and it's like, AI doesn't miss it.
Yeah.
And so if it's spelling or punctuation or anything like that, it will correct it. So when I do my emails, I type out my email and then I tell AI, look at my email and make sure it's grammatically correct. And it goes through and it corrects anything.
Yeah.
And so when I put out an email, it's going to be correct.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
Yeah, I know.
Grammarly.
Yeah.
Grammarly, yes.
Yeah. And then I know when I wrote mine last night and used it, it left a few things out. So I still had to go back in and add a couple things.
Yeah, you can't leave it verbatim.
Perfect, but it's just, but it wrote the bulk of what I wanted, because as a person that doesn't write a lot of press releases or other things, coming up with the words and how it's structured and stuff, still learning it, but having that AI there, it's like, wow, that actually helped me in it. And I learned something from it. I'm like, okay, now I know how you kind of structure things.
Right.
And then I just made the few tweaks and then I sent it out and it made me look really smart. But I see the value of using it in different capacities. And, we were talking with a potential business here coming into town in the future. And they said the way of the future for business is AI. And we got to look at really investing in that. So it's just understanding it. I'm starting to learn it. We've talked about it through all of our chambers too, that we got to start using that as as a way of doing things. That's the future of business, really, when you look at it.
We used to write content. We had copywriters. And so they were outside parties that we would use, and then we had somebody internally that would proof it.
Yeah.
And so you would pay by the word, basically. Well, now you can use AI to write your blog post for these businesses. And like you have to, one of the things that I've learned with AI is it uses words that most humans don't normally use.
Yeah.
And so you can kind of tell when you're reading something if it's legitimately from somebody, human, or if it's from AI, because it's the way they structure it is there's a lot of words that don't go through.
That's why I sounded super smart yesterday.
Yeah. So anyways, to wrap things up,
yes,
the 150th,
hugely successful.
Okay, so it's going as a big success in the record books.
Yes, one of our best community parties ever. I think we had every organization at some capacity was involved. So it was good to see that. I think that's the first time since they were saying since the city had their 100th celebration years ago, where everybody collectively came together. So it was a huge success. Kudos to the Museum of Ventura County, the Ag Museum. They were the overall event organizers for this whole county 150 celebration for the county of Ventura. The chamber played a huge part as the logistical person in a group in organizing this, which was always a challenge. And we had Total Local VC that handled the staging and bringing in the bands and stuff. And so it was a collective effort between the county, the museum, the city was fantastic too. All the support they did, but I think it was everybody in general pulled together, not just Santa Paula, but through other agencies throughout the county. It was just a really great event. I'm really happy with it.
Do they have any kind of an idea of how many people came from? I know all the hotels were sold out.
Yeah,
because I had an act coming in that wanted to stay, and we had to put them in Fillmore. So all the hotels were sold.
Yeah.
But do we have any idea roughly about how many people we brought from outside the community?
We actually have a program that I'm working with the city on that they've invested in, where we could actually pull analytics, and it'll tell you exactly the times they shop, what they did, and we can kind of see where they're from and where they spent their money
based on credit card transactions.
Yes, exactly.
Wow.
So it's a new program that the city invested in, and it's going to help us understand how we market our community and where they're coming from and stuff. So it's a cool thing. I'm part of it too, so I'm still learning the program. But we can geofence an area and we can kind of highlight what went on during the specific time frame.
That's cool.
So I'll have to show you once we get going. But I already asked the city that if we can pull these numbers like in the next week or two, and we'll end up presenting it back to either the county or maybe our within city council. We probably might do a presentation to the supervisors and say, hey, here's what happened and here's what kind of impact it had on our community.
That's awesome.
So really cool program, and we're still, like I said, it's in the infancy for us, so we're still learning it. I'm still going through the training for it, but it's actually kind of cool. So
nice.
Yeah.
That will be a huge benefit.
But then as of Monday, we switched over to holiday mode. So we got a lot of things happening. We talked about the holiday marketing. We have the holiday parade coming up on November 25th, part of the Small Business Saturday celebration. So the parade starts at 6:30 downtown Santa Paula between 7th and Mill, all the way up to the gazebo. You can actually sign up for the parade. It's free right now to sign up. There's no cost. You go to the santapaulachamber.com website on the homepage. It's right there. You just click on it. You fill out the form, send it in. We do take donations because that we still have to pay for this, but as a service, as a benefit to the community, we don't charge anybody, but we kind of rely on donations as well. Or you can go to the chamber Facebook page. It's on our page also, and you could sign up right there as well.
And it will be live streamed, which we need to promote that out there too.
It'll be live streamed. And then after the parade, we're going to have the holiday train come in. It's a fundraiser train where we collect toys. And that'll be right at the gazebo by the train depot. And you can come in. You'll see Santa's doing double duty that night. He's doing the parade, and then he's going to get out of the parade. He's going to go jump on the train. And he's going to come in, and you get to take pictures with Santa. They're going to bring some stuff for the kids. You can bring a toy, and those toys that you bring in go right back into our community. They usually work with the police department, with the Rotary Club, and we distribute toys throughout the community. So it's a really cool day. It's like from Small Business Saturday, from early in the morning till the parade at 6:30, and then about 7:30, 8 o'clock will be the Santa train rolling in as well.
Nice.
So it's a great day to kick off the holiday season. So that, amongst many other things that a lot of the other organizations are doing, the museums have a lot of special events coming up in November. You have several shows you have coming up, correct? Yep. Talk about them.
I
mean to throw you off there.
We can do it next Wednesday because we're 5 minutes over time.
All right. Well, anyway, but check out the chamber website, SantaPaulaChamber.com
and thomagic.org. Has listing of all of our events. And one of these days, I'm going to get everybody to do a central calendar.
We're getting close.
Anyways, thank you all for listening. If you missed the event, you missed a great event. If you were there, I hope you all had enjoyed it. And we will talk to you all next week.
This has been a Rough Edge Studios production.